Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel, The Fasting Pharmacist Weight Loss Journey. And today I'm very happy to tell you that I've got a special guest, my very first guest, my brother, David. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so glad you're here. So we just threw this together today. We were on the phone this morning talking about ideas and gosh, what could we put on a YouTube channel that would be interesting to somebody out there? He's not really into the weight loss thing or the fasting focused lifestyle, but he is a medical doctor. He has a lot of experience and he's just so brilliant in so many areas. But I'm going to introduce you to him and let you know what his past was like. So David, tell me about yourself and let us get to know you a little bit. But first, we're going to start with an inspirational quote. And he's going to be in charge of that.
I'm in charge of this. We found this. We thought this was appropriate for the first introduction here. And the quote is, "Families are like fudge, mostly sweet with lots of nuts." And you may see some evidence of that today. All right.
So, he is a medical doctor, and I'm going to interview him today, and I want you guys to get to know him because me and him and his wife Beth have so many great ideas. We're kind of a medical family, and the more I think about it, we could just talk about so many things that would help somebody out there in YouTube land with the littlest things that you'd never really think about. But tell us what you do for a living, and just pretend I'm in a job interview and tell me about yourself.
No way.
No way.
No.
Forget the job interview.
No
just
job
relax
interview.
and
We're
have
not
fun.
interviewing here.
Okay.
I mean, you're interviewing, but not for a
Right,
job.
right.
So I'm trained in internal medicine and pediatrics, and I graduated from medical school in 1984. Had my own private practice for a number of years, for about 10 years, and it became too expensive to run a practice, and I started doing urgent care medicine, and I've been doing that since about 2006. I think 2002 actually. So quite a long time, and I went from being the one guy in charge of my practice. I had my own thing, and then I became an employee of a hospital system, and I've worked for 3 or 4 different major hospital organizations in Northeast Ohio. So now I work urgent care. I take people who walk in who have who knows what, anything at all, and if I can treat them, I do. If I can't, I may have to send them to the emergency room, or may have to send them to the primary care.
Yeah.
To their primary care physician.
So just to clarify, where you work is not an emergency room, but it's called urgent care. Like if someone just doesn't have a doctor,
Right.
and they think they might be having a heart attack, or they think they might have pink eye.
Well, pink eye would be the appropriate reason to come and
Okay.
see me. Heart attack would not. That's an emergency, and it goes to the emergency room. And time is very important, so you don't want to waste time going to the wrong place. So,
Yeah.
We actually have a whole set of guidelines that have been printed up to educate patients who have come in as to what's the most appropriate place to go for various types of conditions. So mostly what we see are coughs, colds, sore throats, some minor fractures. People cut themselves sometimes. Most of the time it's people who can't get an appointment with their doctor today, or they don't have a doctor, so they look up what's the easiest place to get taken care of when they know it's not an emergency, so they'll come in and wait, and we see them.
And how many people, well, I guess you can't really answer this properly, but how many people do you think really just don't have a doctor? I think some of us just take that for granted that...
Well, the younger people don't. Older people usually do. But people also move around a lot, so you'll find that I have to ask every single person, who you're going to follow up with. Do you need a referral to somebody? And I don't know what percentage it is, but a lot of people do need a referral to a primary doc. But I'll hear all kinds of stories. I just moved, or I've been meaning to get one for the last 5 years and I haven't got around to it. I never get sick. Whatever.
Everything.
Yeah. So anyway, I enjoy doing that, and that's fine. And it's changed a lot of my perspective on how I approach medicine. So what's our next issue to discuss?
So we have so much we could talk about. One of the things I was going to ask you about, and if you're ready to talk about this, we can, or if not, we'll go to something else. But who were the major influences in your life, thinking about our mom, or her parents, or our dad, or his parents? Our mom has passed away, but our dad's still alive, and he's 88 years old. He was born in 1930. And did we talk about our ages yet? I'm 46.
I am 60.
And he is 60.
So I'm the oldest in the family. We've got 2 sisters in between us, and Julie's the baby, 14 years younger. Well, anyway, so I was always good in math and interested in science, and so my mom had a history of training in medical technology. She used to create slides and run blood tests for doctors in the Cleveland hospitals before they had automated machines. So she had a very science-oriented background. And then her father, my grandfather, was a dentist.
Our grandfather?
Yeah. You're not here.
Oh.
So he was a dentist.
I'll just be in the other
and he died when I was about 6 years old. So I'm the only one of us 4 that met him and remembers him.
And if I could interject, he died of obesity-related type 2 diabetes, which gave him
he had
a heart attack.
He had a heart attack.
His immediate cause of death was a heart attack.
Right.
But he was a type 2 diabetic, secondary to obesity, and he didn't take care of his health. But going back to what you were saying.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I never got to meet him. But.
Well, and then on the other side, my dad's father was a physical chemist, and he worked on the Manhattan Project, so he was part of the science team that contributed to creating nuclear energy.
For the atomic bomb. Yeah, like pretty much.
Right.
Yeah.
So he was pretty impressive as a person, although we all knew him, but never knew him as a scientist. Yeah. Well, I guess you were a baby, but
I never met him.
He died when you were, what, 6 or 7 or something
or
like
4
that?
maybe.
Yeah.
And he was paralyzed from a stroke.
Yeah, that's right. So you really didn't get to know him.
I met him when he was in a hospital bed and he could never move.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and they lived in Arkansas, so we never hardly ever saw him.
We lived in Ohio.
Not like the dentist family, the ones up in.
And one of my grandmother's, well, my mom's sister, she was handicapped.
Yeah.
And because I think that affected our family, don't you? That we didn't maybe see our grandmother as much as we would have because of our aunt with her handicap. Things might have been a little more difficult for her to travel, but she had spina bifida.
Yeah.
And I think that was a handful for Grandma to handle, and we didn't see her quite as much as we.
She lived with her almost her whole life.
Yeah, she always lived with her. Yeah, and that did affect probably. I know that I can say for me, it affected my life to have a special needs person in my family. It affected my mom, which of course affects us. You just become kind of a more of a compassionate person, and you look at life a little differently, I think.
Yep.
So what made you actually make the decision? I mean, I have 3 teens. What made you
my mom, you know, our mom,
made you
decide? More or less said, well, if you don't know what you want to do, just go into medicine. And so I said, oh, okay.
She didn't say go be a doctor, but.
Well, you know, that's what she meant. But,
okay.
So that was kind of, I said, okay, well, you know, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was into photography at the time, and cartooning and drawing. I'm very artistic.
Yeah.
But you know, I had to make a living. You had to make a decision what you want to do. So
yeah. And
so I did it.
We're getting a little short on time, but let's just go over. Let's talk about your hobbies, likes, and interests. Let's talk a little bit about what we think we'd like to talk about on a future video, and then we'll end with a public service announcement from Dr. Dave.
All right.
So start with your likes, interests, and hobbies.
You'll find that I'm not that interested in medicine, even though I'm a doctor. So that's something you might be surprised to find out, that I find my hobbies much more interesting
than your job.
Than my job. Yeah.
Me too.
I'm very interested in music. I play the trombone. I'm in a band. I like to sing. And Julie's also a very good singer. Maybe one of these days we will sing a little duet or something.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, it's an option. I'm also very much into gardening. My wife is into gardening as well.
And we've been in a band together.
That's right.
We were in the Chagrin Falls alumni band.
Yeah, the Tiger Pride band.
I was a singer and you were trombone player.
Yeah, I did get to sing in that band too.
Yeah, that's true. You sang backup vocals.
I sang lead on a couple of things.
Yeah. And our sister Elisa was the
She's the tambourine.
Tambourine percussion.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So that's been fun. And then genealogy, family history is another passion of mine, and
Oh, yeah.
I just sent my DNA in and Ancestry.com and got the results, and I had my family tree pretty well worked out. But one of the things that has been a fascination has been that my grandmother was adopted. My mother's mother was adopted, and she got her adoption papers opened up while she was alive as an adult, and she went and found a half-brother in Montana, and she had written down as much as she could find about her original birth parents, got some stories, and you know, she died in 1994, and we inherited all of her photos that included her parents, her grandparents, and they were all Mennonites, and they didn't look a thing like her because she was adopted. So it was cool to have all these pictures, but we didn't certainly inherit any of that. So I started asking questions about, well, where's the old pictures from Dad's side of the family? You know, we didn't have them, so we had to start asking questions, meeting some Dad's cousins, started letting me in on the real story behind the other side of the family, but you know, got me started on it, and then the scientific investigation in me got me interested in the treasure hunt of discovering new hidden treasures of information that turn up in libraries.
So wrapping things up, he hasn't even had time to go into all of his likes, interests, and hobbies. I'll brag about him. He's a great musician. He's a good singer. He's smart. He's so artistic. Yeah, have some coffee. There's so many things we could talk about. I was telling him this morning, I mean, his gardening alone, he's been on PBS, which in people in the United States, that's a free television service called Public Broadcast System. And he was on talking about hostas with his daughter. He's just a multi-talented person. So we're going to break things down into small baby steps, because this is kind of a lot of information. But we have a lot we could talk about on this channel that are related to health.
Sure.
And some future videos that we kind of talking about included something to do with family history.
Family history, right? We want to talk
Medical
about
family history.
We want to talk about stress relief by having hobbies.
Stress relief by hobbies, because why is it important to manage stress?
We want to talk about family history, including family medical history, and
living a healthy
we'll
lifestyle.
be talking about all kinds of things.
Yeah,
and my wife is also
really
probably going to join us soon.
Yeah.
She's a nurse practitioner and is very interested in preventive health care.
She's very health conscious, and she practices what she preaches.
Yes, she really does. She's got my diet kind of regulated and much better, and I have to exercise now. I mean, things that I always took for granted, but you know, it's good for me.
But one question, are you still drinking Mountain Dew?
Yes, I am.
Cringe. Well, we're going to work on this.
I'm not sure we're going to be talking about that.
That's the only criticism I've ever heard about you, actually, is I think one of our other sisters...
What about my favorite snack with the Cheetos?
I didn't hear about that. I just...
Oh, okay.
You know, the people in my family, like my sister
There's so much to learn.
They said, you know, David's great. I love him, but he still drinks Mountain Dew.
So offensive.
Really offensive and just unacceptable, actually. But we will save that for another day. We don't want to offend anyone out there that drinks Mountain Dew. But he does have a problem. One problem.
Can you remind me what my public service announcement was going to be today?
Your public service announcement was going to be about a man from Canada who's also a clinical psychologist. Or that was going to be a quote.
That's
my
not
bad.
this video. That's different.
Well,
this one had to do with
I kind of remember.
family, or what was it about?
Well, one quick thing you were going to just touch upon is, and you might have want to wait this for a different video about, like, we were just talking about, like, when to go to the emergency room, when not. And then you also were going to talk about the relatives in your past that influenced you, which I think you did talk about that too. There's too much to say.
Well, one of the things that we talked about, and we might as well do it now, is it's really important for people to take some responsibility for their own health care, their decisions. They should try to understand what medicines they're taking.
Like avoiding that Mountain Dew?
No, not like that.
Oh, okay.
Well, that would only matter if it was bad for you or something. But, things like establishing a medical home, have a family practice, or internist or a pediatrician have a primary care physician who can manage any kind of prevention and ongoing illnesses, so that you've got someone to call when you're not sure what to do with a particular problem, and then you can avoid going to the wrong kind of center for the care you need. So, and then if you aren't sure where to go, and you should always call your primary care office if they're not available. You can call the urgent care that's local to you and see if they are appropriate to handle the problem you have, and they'll tell you if you should go to the emergency room, because this is really more of an emergency, like you're having a stroke, maybe you might be having a heart attack, maybe you can't stop bleeding, your nose won't stop bleeding, things that might need blood tests. There's so many things that can't be done in an urgent care. So
well, you could have somebody walk in if they couldn't stop bleeding, and you could fix it for temporary.
And,
so you got an
and then
ambulance.
send them to the emergency room.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So they wasted
You do
all
call
that time.
ambulances there.
We do call ambulances for people. We're
You had
very
somebody
good at
come in once you thought had meningitis, and you immediately called the squad, right?
It wasn't that immediate, but
well, you pretty
did.
much as fast as you could.
yeah,
But what do you do if somebody walks into urgent care and they're having a heart attack? You have to handle it.
you call 911.
Okay.
They
You
come.
can't just do the CPR
You
there?
give them, no. They don't come in and have a heart attack. They come in with chest pain.
Okay.
One time I've seen somebody actually have to be coded after they got to the urgent care. I heard about it. I don't think it was.
So for those of you out there, what does it mean to be coded?
CPR,
Okay.
pass out.
See, there's just so much to talk about. Other ideas I want to talk about, I don't know if you do, but what is high cholesterol? What can you do about high cholesterol? The biggie, high blood pressure, hypertension. Also, why is it bad? Boring. Okay, so what would you like to talk about?
Hobbies.
Just your hobbies?
Oh yeah.
This is a health channel.
Okay, well we'll touch on that too.
We'll touch a little bit on health, and then we'll talk a lot about hobbies
Yes.
and how they help you with your health
That's good.
conditions.
That's good.
All right, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you all. Yeah, we're gonna have much more to come, much more to talk about. We're really excited to get his wife, a nurse practitioner, him as a medical doctor, and me as a registered pharmacist. The three of us together probably have 3 opinions on the same topic, and could probably add something
Yeah.
to the mix.
Yeah.
Because I've got my side from the pharmacist counter, and you've got it from the doctor's side, and then the nurse. And
Yeah.
trust me, those 3 could be very different.
They could be disagreeing with each
They
other.
could
yes.
possibly disagree, but we'll come to a conclusion,
I doubt it.
or agree to disagree.
We'll agree to disagree probably.
Well, it's been fun. Thanks for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and we'll see you real soon.